Okay. Audio works. I think we're good. Okay. All right, we're here. We are doing it live. Welcome, Addo. Cody teacher. Perfect. Yes. Oh, and our chat works too. Nice. Yeah. Make sure that's there. Okay. That's working. Bring this over here. Well, yeah, I guess we bring it over here, right? Do we slideshow it? Does that work? Nice. All right, guys. So what ended up happening was, for context, when you draw something for an example, draw an Addo. That's exactly it. So for context, what ended up happening is I got invited to a talk at my former college, and I did the talk. It was kind of personal. There was like 8 people there. Anyways, I had a recording and I had my DJI mics, but I forgot to click the record button on the mic, so I didn't have a backup of that. And for some reason, the plugin on the phone didn't work. I think it was because when it came up, it asked if I wanted to connect like headphone or other device. And I clicked other device because it's a recording device, but it didn't end up working. So I got this whole lecture of me at the college that's like an hour long and it has no audio, or it's just like a dead ambient noise of giving the presentation. Just so I'm proving that I did actually give a presentation. in case you were doubting. But yeah, anyways, I did the presentation. I was like, oh no. So while it's fresh in my brain, yeah, lecturer Cody just standing there. Yeah, while it's fresh in my brain, we're gonna do a lecture. I don't know how much I'm gonna be like responding to crosstalk. I'll probably save it for like the end or whatever, because I'm trying to just do the presentation. But if I see something that's funny, I'll respond to it. So this is mainly just for my archive, and since I spent the last 2 days finishing up a presentation that I gave, and I want a recording of it. So without further ado, this is a lecture given to the aspiring game developers, and I'm going to give it to you guys. So whoever, maybe it'll be useful. I don't know. Okay. So for the prologue, I was thinking about, when I was trying to give a lecture, I was thinking about what is the information that would be most valuable to an aspiring game developer. And the easiest way to ask that question was, what did I wish I knew then? From a game developing perspective, what things do I wish I knew? What did I wish I learned earlier in my game development career? That sort of thing. Yeah, you'll record it and keep it forever. If it's good, I hope so. So anyways, so in school, you learn how to make a game. But the problem is that how to make a game isn't how to make a game. You know, there's 2 aspects of it. It sounds silly, but hear me out here. So when it comes to making a game, school will give you all of the foundation. It will give you the programming. It'll give you the art to some extent. 3D, 2D. It'll give you some basics. It'll tell you how to use certain programs and software and how to integrate them, and it may even teach you how to like upload it to different processes and how to deal with aspects of that. It gives you the stuff, okay, the basic like foundation for how to make a game, but it doesn't teach you how to make a game. Your capacity for making a game is not the same as the execution, and that's kind of what I want to focus more on. I want to focus more on the execution of making a game. Now, for example, I was thinking about this book. It's called How to Read a Book. And in this book, it teaches you how to read, but not the same kind of reading you learn in school. So, for example, in school, you learn how to read letters, words, definitions, the subject, object, verb structure, and after doing all of that, you learn your grammar, and that's what's considered literacy. Okay, but reading isn't the same as reading. Okay, and so this book goes into what they denote as intelligent reading. It sounds kind of pretentious, but bear with me. So it teaches what superficial reading is. It teaches like further different types of reading, like inspectional reading, systemic skimming, pre-reading, organizing, and it teaches how to do each of those things with each subject, because every subject is written differently. So you can see there is a reading base literacy, and then there's reading, extracting information, advanced, understanding how to read, different strategies for reading. There's another aspect to it. Now, those of you at home may know that there's an objection here. The objection is that game design is creative expression. And that's true. Game design is subjective. There are no hard and fast rules. It will be somebody's subjective experience. So, I can't give you how to make a game. I can't give you the script for how you should make a game, but I can give you my perspective, which you can consider as you create and develop your own. Some advice going forward that I think is important, and something that took me a really long time to learn, is that your voice, identity, and taste is not something you find. It is something you build. Okay, and there's a distinction there, because you can spend a lot of time trying to find who you are and waste all that time because it's something that's built. It's something that you figure out as you're experimenting, when you're burning the midnight oil on a late Tuesday, just trying to get this mechanic to work and it doesn't, and you try something stupid and that ends up being something entertaining, and you realize, oh man, I really like this. That is like your voice, the identity, the things you enjoy, your taste with game development. So if there's anything I'd like to accomplish with this, it's that I want to just give you an example of a subjective person doing game design and what it looks like. So we have to refine our title for the prologue. How to make games doesn't work. As you know, I have an asterisk here. We're going to focus not on the how in the tangible capacity sense. You obviously have all of that background, but I'm going to focus on the metaphysical sense, the execution, how one person takes their perspective and applies it to game design. We have to remove the to, because this is mainly going to be me. I'm going to focus on my subjectivity with regards to the subject. And we also have to remove the S, because I've been relatively stubborn and only worked on one game for like the last decade. So now we get to the final title, which is How I Make Game. Oh, the chat is doubled. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you, Addo. Appreciate it. So How I Make Game is the ultimate title of this. And I'm going to give you my perspective and some of the things I've encountered in game design, and hopefully you can use that to build your own foundation. So this is the more metaphysical aspects of how I make game. So, heavy philosophical topics aside, what is a game? Oh, no, we're going to be here forever. No, just kidding. We're not going to get into what is a game. You have some concept of what a game is. But I do implore you to come up with your own definition for it. It is important that you figure out and define what a game is to you. For posterity's sake, my definition of a game is a set of rules wherein a player makes choices that resolve win or lose conditions. Okay, and I draw this distinction very specifically because I don't consider games that don't have lose conditions a game. And that's just my own personal subjective taste. Some of the problem I draw with a lot of games, specifically like we're getting these more casual games now, cozy games, they lack stakes, and they don't have lose conditions. Even incremental games now are growing to this point where it's just number get bigger, but there's no loss condition as a result of that. And that's something I want to stray away from. I would like a game feels like a game to me when it has both a win and lose condition. And it could be score, it could be things like that, but there needs to be some loss. Without loss, it doesn't feel like a game to me. So to shorten it, there's an environment, a set of rules, playing, some kind of interactive player, and then a resolution. Come up with your own definition. It doesn't matter, whatever it is, but it will set the table for what you decide to make, is understanding that definition. So now, without further ado, here's my game, Jump Off the Bridge. If you have not seen Jump Off the Bridge before, this is what my game looks like. This is level 1 of Jump Off the Bridge. As the title would eponymously suggest, the goal is to jump off the bridge. Thank you. I appreciate you guys have been great listeners. It's been a great day. I'm thankful I was able to come out. I'm just kidding. So we'll get to the rest of it. So the stats. Jump Off the Bridge was released in Steam in early 2019 in early access. As of today, it's got over 13,300 copies sold, and 73% of that player base is Chinese. So you can see the disparity and breakdown here. It's interesting because you never know who you're going to end up resonating with when you make a game. In my case, it ended up being China. They resonate greatly, and you can see 5% of United States and the rest from there. Pretty interesting breakdown. It also we'll get into translation and stuff like that later, but I just wanted to mention it because it is interesting. Game engine I work with, if you do not know, made with GameMaker. So I like GameMaker because for a couple reasons. One of them is it uses a derivative of C++. It's a little bit easier to understand. It's very visual. Something I like about it is that I can have objects, and then each of the objects have their own events. So for example, when the object's created, everything in that code will only run once, and then everything in the step event will run every frame of the game. So it's just an easier way to visualize information, and I ended up picking up relatively quickly. It's also really good for prototyping. It's primarily for two-dimensional games, and I also grew up using the drag and drop for GameMaker. So GameMaker has both this code side that you see here in this example, and it also has drag and drop, where you can drag and drop essentially what are code blocks, but they're like little images, like pictograms or whatever, and you can drag them in and build a game just using the drag and drop stuff. A lot of, I saw Unreal Engine has some similar aspects, some things like that. But it's primarily for two-dimensional games. Unless you're crazy and a wizard, you can make a 3D game in GameMaker, but it's not easy. So you might be asking a question at this point. No offense, but why was this successful? You've seen the first level I showed you. It seems relatively simple. How does it sell 13,000 copies? Well, I've been asking myself that question for the last decade. No, seriously, let's talk about the game a little bit. So, delving deeper. This is the second level of the game. So this introduces the complexity of you can have items that you use to solve the levels. So this, for example, is the obstacle, and it's teaching the basic. Next thing is restart. So in the game, if you do not jump off the bridge, there are going to be a bunch of obstacles. In this case, it's buffalo. And if you die, you technically didn't jump off the bridge, so it's a failure. That's the lose condition. So at any point, if you die or you want to retry a level, you can immediately press R to restart it. Level 5. In this level, a grandmother is blocking your path because she requests her dog, and nowhere else to go. You decide to go left, only to find the dog is guarded by some spikes. Okay. Level 7, cop. You are trying to jump off the bridge, but the police have a problem with it. A problem that they can only solve with bullets. Level 11. Sometimes you're trying to jump off a bridge and you're having difficulty figuring out which way to go and how to jump off that bridge. That's true. They're not spikes. They're saws. Thank you, Ado. I appreciate the clarification. I'll add that in my notes. I'll add it in the notes. So in this level, you have to figure out which path to take, how to get there, and how to get to the bridge in order to jump off of it. So the modus operandi of Jump Off the Bridge, the ethos and things that contribute to the character are quite a few things, but I've distilled some of them here. First off is variety. Okay, Jump Off the Bridge, I really want to focus on variety. I like novelty. I want to show off different aspects of it. I want to show different mechanics, different things. Something I really dislike with video games is when they just do a different colored sprite for the enemy, but it's the same sprite, like a turtle colored different ways. Sorry, Mario, but that's just lazy. So that was something I really didn't like. I wanted something with variety. Another thing is I reward perseverance for the players and engender curiosity, essentially. So by persevering, there is an expectation set that there will be something different each time. And their curiosity propels them through moments of frustration and perseverance. The big one for Jump Off the Bridge is probably subversion of expectations. Every time players play the game, I am subverting their expectations. I'm subverting the expectations that I set within the game itself. For example, I have wooden signs that teach the player how to play the game. They're like the tutorial signs. And then later they encounter a sign that literally pulls out a gun and shoots them. So I'm subverting the expectations not only within the game, but also their expectations of other games. If they played other games before and have an expectation for how it goes, I'm subverting that. Or I try to subvert that anyways. So it's big on subversion of expectation. It's quick and arcade-like replayability. I showed you that if you can press R, you just restart the level. This helps mitigate a lot of the frustration because it gets people right back in the action, right back into an attempt, right back into their ability to try it. I really like the arcade style type stuff. I just wanted more variety and novelty, so that ends up contributing positively. If a player would be frustrated by the game, the ease of access with getting to replay the level is something that can solve that problem. There are a lot of old games that suffer from a really long death screen that make the game like really, having a really long death animation or a really long death screen or having to navigate menus to return to a game is something that disincentivizes experimentation with games. It's important that if you're making a game, you consider the playability of the game and a player's ability to get back into the action and continue playing the game. You don't want to disincentivize their ability to experiment. And things like saving affects that as well. And then finally, probably something that helps with its ethos and its success is the entertaining vicariousness of it. Jump Off the Bridge in and of itself is a very entertaining game to watch someone else suffer through. It's a game that is more enjoyable watching somebody else aspire through it. You can get the enjoyment of a streamer or a character or a personality you like going through it. Some of the levels are frustrating. Some of the levels, they have that aspect of it, but there is an entertaining vicariousness to it. Nope, unfortunately, Addo, you gotta hold it in. It's an hour-long lecture. I don't got a lot of time. Gotta hold it all in. Brief aside, while we're on this topic, on sublimation. Okay, so if you don't know what the word sublimation is, the easiest way to think about it is people are going to be predisposed to act in different ways. Okay, they're going to have predisposements to emotions in different ways. For example, a person who has a much stronger sense of justice is probably most likely going to end up in some sort of law-focused like authority career. Somebody that is like more extroverted and talks a lot is going to find some sort of career that like best fits that type of energy. If somebody is like really aggressive and needs to burn off like a lot of physical energy, they're probably going to end up in like some kind of athletic sports or something where they're using a lot of energy. There are just ways to sublimate this energy. And the reason I say that it's generally somnambulant, that is not conscious, is because people aren't generally self-aware of how it's being led, but you can be self-aware on it. So your emotions can act as the compass and fuel for your art. So for example, you can take happiness, like mechanics you like, mechanics you enjoy, things that make you feel good, numbers getting bigger, whatever it is, you can take that and use that as a compass and direction for fueling your art. Your sadness with regards to how you dislike something, how you hate, how you feel like bad when you're playing a specific game. Your jealousy for mechanics you like seeing in other games that you want in your games. Like if you have anger or frustration about something, that's another thing that can tell you aspects. If you're bored playing game, these are all, you can use your emotions as a compass to figure out like what you like and dislike in determining your taste. You can also use it to figure out like what kind of game you want to make and how you feel when you're playing that game, which you can use to refine it further. So that's just a brief aside. The more self-aware you are of how you feel about the way that things are that you play, the easier it will be to determine what you're making and why you're making it. So, what are some of the obstacles, the self-evident, more macro scope obstacles of Jump Off the Bridge and making it? So this is the challenges with Jump Off the Bridge game development. Obviously, the most, strongest, easiest one off the top is more variety equals more time. That's not only more time to make stuff, as there is no like determined end necessarily at this point, but it's more time for working on it. Everything I add increases the compile time, and the project size and scale is always expanding and changes differently. So that's a big problem with this game development, is that it just continues. But there is some point where I have to refactor old code. I just fixed a bug recently that's been in the game for 7 years that I didn't know about. It was the troll level. In the troll level, if you pressed restart, like in half a second after you entered the cave, you could never press a restart again. Like it wouldn't work, or you couldn't enter the cave. It was like broken. So there's just little things like that you don't know until you're like going through it. So I have to refactor old code. I got to update it with my new knowledge. I'm dealing with like a lot of that aspect of it. That's a big challenge with game development for Jump Off the Bridge specifically, because I've been working on it since 2019, even before that, almost a decade now. Skills demanded of just game development in general. If you're going to be an independent game developer, you have to learn how to do, if assuming you're becoming an independent game developer, sprites, art, design, sound, music, all of that generally makes sense. But then if you're also, putting the game on Steam, you have to deal with communication, advertising, playtesting of the game, and language is another one. You have to basically wear every hat. There's a lot of hats you have to wear. Also, probably the most important is that you're the boss with regards to game development in general. It's a double-edged sword, and you need to have a capable internal authority. Your internal critic, your ability to navigate and execute things, it all comes down to you at the end of the day. You're the only one answering to it. It's not, you don't have an external boss that tells you what's done, what to do, how to do it. Like, you just have to figure that out. So you have to learn the required knowledge. You have to execute your vision. You have to play test that. If it doesn't work, you got to refine it. It's all on you. So it can be quite a double-edged sword, but there are advantages and disadvantages to both, essentially. Now, how I stay afloat with regards to game development: making it work, sustainability. So as for Jump Off the Bridge, how are we funding Jump Off the Bridge when the sales aren't high? Active income. I'm doing odd jobs. My buddy needs a toilet fixed, I'm over there. My dude needs insulation put in, I got it. You need some electrical problem handled, I'm coming there with the muscle to handle it. Like anything, freelance, gig, commissions, it doesn't matter. I do part-time anything. If I don't have money for my bills, I find a way to do it. I don't care if some old woman needs shelves put up in her house. I will go do it. Craigslist, you need a printer installed, I don't care. Like, I will find a way to do it. That's the active income aspect of sustaining independent game development. Then I have passive income. I have the game, I have the soundtrack sales, I have Patreon, I got Twitch streaming. Hopefully one day I'll have YouTube. These are all passive revenue streams to some extent, obviously more varying than others. Twitch is more active because I have to be on it to do it. But I take all my Twitch streams and post them on YouTube. So there is like some, it's eventually, it all builds upwards, basically. The more games you release, the more variants of passive income, etc. I've been really stubborn working on Jump Off the Bridge, so that's primarily my route. And finally, last but not least, is support from you guys, from my girlfriend, from my friends, my family, fans. There is no way I would be able to do what I would do if it wasn't for these people. For all these people that contribute to my life. No person is an island. I think there's this like misnomer that independent game development, there was like an emphasis on independent, but no, it really does require the support of a lot of people to make independent stuff like more successful. There are so many people that contribute to what I do that it's important that that aspect is put out there. Now, when you're doing game development, there's sometimes unforeseen limitations. There are problems you can't even predict were going to happen until you just do the thing. This is an example of it. So in my game, I have a level select. As you can see, when the game was released, it didn't really have a level. It didn't even have saving, okay? Which is, okay, quick aside here for a brief moment. As I was making the game, I originally released it without saving, and it wasn't until I got a bunch of negative reviews on Steam that were requesting saving that I added it. So I say that little aside to explain that there's a lot of things that you may not plan for that you just adapt to over time. In this case, my problem was that I have this level select, but as I added levels, I didn't realize there was a limitation for how many if-else statements you can have in a C++ compiled block, basically. So I reached a point where it wouldn't even compile my game because I had too many if-else statements. So the only way I overcame that was that I had to learn a new data type, DS maps or whatever, in order to encode all of this information, because each level has a series of ways that it adjusts this preview down here so that it can show you a base of the level. So that was just something I never knew, that you could only have a limited amount of if-else statements. And I ended up exceeding that and had to change a lot of code, refactor a lot of code. Some other obstacles you'll encounter is translation versus localization. So this is important if you want to reach a wider global audience with your games. And I have a couple good examples of this, and I want to show some jokes as well on how they're translated. So first off, what's the difference between translation and localization? So translation is just like, well, there's a bunch of different variations of it, but basically it's just a one-to-one, generally like direct translation of the stuff, okay? It doesn't include the context. A localization is where they take all the art and the metaphors and they localize it to the region. So for example, I have some tiny jokes here that aren't really well translated. So here, for this, going back to the grandma level, I have an elderly woman and she says, "Could you grab my dog for me?" Okay, you grab the dog for her. Now note she is an elderly woman here. After you bring her the dog, she is an elderlier woman. So there's sometimes, it's just a tiny joke. It's not, but there are some cultures and languages that don't have that aspect of it. So it would end up being more elderly woman or like more older woman, basically. Like sometimes that joke doesn't translate very well. Another easy one is I have this obese troll. He's starving. And once you bring him chicken, he's morbidly obese. And there are some languages that don't have that kind of word. It would just be like bigger obese troll or bigger fatter troll or something. Like, so if you have somebody localize it, they'd be able to localize that joke more specifically, whereas a direct translation probably isn't going to work, because morbid might mean like, terrible or horrifying. Okay, it's not going to be morbidly obese, which is a health designated size limit that we have in English, basically. Another example, so if you want to solve some of these problems, actually, this is a solution, basically. So use more universal communication when you're communicating. So pictures are generally universal, and depending on how you put them, they can be more or less. But anyways, this is the first boss in Jump Off the Bridge. So you'll see here that on the basically back rump of the dragon, I have a couple spears already stabbed within the dragon to sort of imply that the player is supposed to throw spears at the dragon. I also have a spear rack that's just kind of jutting out here, and it's in the foreground to sort of show that it is something that's like there in front of the player. Usually most people figure out how to interact with it. And then obviously we have the age-old tried and true health. You can see that there's like a designation of, I have to remove this health. Every time I hit it with a spear, I'm reducing it. It's like diminishing, basically. So there are ways you can communicate mechanics to a player more intuitively just by environmental pictures, basically. Yeah, hard mode dragon. Hard mode dragon takes this dragon and makes it look like chump change, basically. In the hard mode, I don't have an image of it here, but the hard mode dragon, when you throw spears, if the spear is on the ground for too long, here, let me explain this a little bit better. So my strategy for throwing a spear here, you'll see that I stack a pile. I noticed from playing this and watching other people play this dragon that they would make these piles. And so what I did with the hard mode dragon is, in response to this strategy, I made it so that the spears literally get up and run away and screaming. The hard mode dragon also changes fireballs every health, and he has like 10 health basically. So it's a much harder dragon, but that's an example of some design choices that I made based off of watching players play the game and then going from there, basically. Yes, the steel neck thing. The hard mode dragon also has a steel neck guard, basically. That means you can only deal damage to him by jumping and throwing. I noticed that a lot of people were grabbing spears and then walking them up to the dragon, and so I wanted to, prevent that strategy and make it a little bit harder. So some of the refinement for the hard mode dragon is based off of just observation of watching people play this dragon and then making a more difficult version based on the strategies that I saw. So here's an example of escalating amounts of jokes that are translating like okay to really bad. So this is a joke that translates okay. Generally, most cultures have like physical comedy. So the idea of a level that's just a bunch of banana peels makes sense. You're going to end up, tripping on a bunch of bananas. You just keep going backwards, and there's just an egregious amount of bananas down. So that's a joke that translates okay. Here's one that may not translate that well depending on the culture. So I thought it would be really funny to make a level that's a tutorial that's like really deep in the game for a mechanic that never appears again. That was the joke. So this is the level 51 tutorial duck, where it teaches you how to duck. And so it's a pun, which is why it won't translate that well. So when you press down, you physically turn into a duck, and then a snake in the grass ascends the tree. A hunter tries to shoot you with a shotgun, and then there's like a net boat thing down here that tries to catch you. Like it's a funny level just to be a tutorial for a mechanic that will never come up again. Here is a joke that won't translate well-ish, depending on, how familiar the players are with like computer related stuff. So this level is called Crash Bug. Now it has a bug in a car, basically like a roach driving a Jeep. Okay. And so if he crashes, you can restart. Your goal is to juggle him as long as you can. But if you fail and don't restart in a quick enough time, the game literally crashes. That's more of a joke that I think is funny for me, but it's bad game design practice. Don't intentionally make a bug in your game. It's probably not good. I don't like when I release this on consoles at some point, I'm going to have to change it. Like I can't just crash the game and like it's weird. But I thought it was really funny. The idea of having a level where if you wait too long, that restart ends up, being the way you can continually, if you just watch the level and try to perceive and get information, it punishes you. Interesting design space there. I thought it was funny. And here's a joke that won't translate without anything, okay? Yeah, don't make a bug in your game unless it's funny. Then you have free license to make a bug in your game. So this is a level called Trauma Dump, okay? And this joke won't translate basically at all because it's a plethora of work to translate all of this stuff, and it's also there's just too much context that you wouldn't know basically. So how it works is a streamer named Moon played my game, and when he played the game, he enjoyed it, but he ended up people told him about an Easter egg in the game where I talk about like some of the time when I first started making the game in the city, and it's like in the city in the game, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just more like heartstringy, pulling, like it was an early point of my development, but I still left it in there. I play some music, whatever. Anyways, he enjoyed the game at the time and people enjoyed watching it, but reflecting on it in the future, him in a stream, he was complaining about it, claiming that the game was like a trauma dump essentially. And so that kind of irked me and I thought it was annoying. So what I did was I took the stream and him where he did this and I put it in the game basically. So I have him, he's the streamer. I took all of the emojis. I made a bunch of emojis. I drew them by hand, and you have to avoid the emojis and the chat as it ascends upwards. So he's the enemy of this level. This is all of his words that he said during that stream. I have a bunch of references to Forsen and Juja and like all of these different, like this is Juja's hamster. He's like I want to say Spanish or Argentinian or what. He's another streamer that it was pretty entertaining to watch for my game. Eventually, he ends up spitting spitballs at you that you have to avoid. It's a bunch of inside jokes, but you'll notice here that I'm actually responding to his thoughts of that stream. So I literally recreated the entire stream as much as I could. I tried to retain a lot of people's messages. These are actually their messages to some extent. Obviously the Forsen ones are additional and things like that. And then I took all of his quotes. So it's a level that's funny if you have the context. If you don't have the context, it's not funny. Yeah, apparently his catchphrase is like "get a vasectomy." He says that all the time or whatever. I don't know, but it's got power-ups. It's got, it prevents you from jumping off the bridge, and it's a really challenging level. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And also the text scroll is actually very tinily random. There's like so like you will not be able to play this level the same every time. It is different every single time, just slightly, basically. And there's also a quick way to beat the level if you are looking closely. So that's a level that will not, obviously doing all the work to translate all of this stuff, that's an obstacle I am not going to endeavor. Probably ever. It's just way too much. It's like a cultural thing. It's not going to work. So now I want to focus a little bit. We've talked about some of the obstacles in game design, and I've told you some of my solutions for solving those obstacles and what it sort of looks like navigating like a global market. Now I want to bridge over to design. Since this talk is basically how I make game, I want to show you some of the aspects of how I'm basically creating a problem and then trying to solve it. And sometimes the problems are things that just come up from trying it. They're not even something that comes up, by product of me designing it. Like I'll design something and then that'll just create more problems that I have to solve essentially. I really want to, the goal of this aspect of this talk is to show some of my levels and put you in my brain a little bit to give you some of the perspective on like what I was trying to solve and how I solved it. So the first example, which what more apt example and metaphor than the literal level where you have to build a bridge. Okay. So the thing I started off with on the right-hand side, you'll see level without a bridge. That was the goal. Okay. It was to have a level that doesn't have a bridge. Okay. Well, if you've removed the bridge, the player can still jump. There's no obstacle. So I had to create an obstacle. So what I did was I created this spiky thing down here. So this is actually a beaver den. Okay. So that just answers itself. Well, how are the beavers going to interact? So first off, we need to get a bridge in there. So I'm going to have a guy build a bridge. I don't want the player to have to do it. I'd rather the player focus on something else, like grabbing and throwing. Okay. So now as the level plays out, you are competing against the beavers. The beavers are coming out of the hole and trying to take wood back down there so that they can outpace and dam up the river. If you can't defeat the beavers or get enough wood fast enough to this guy so that you can build a bridge so that you can jump over the spikes so that you can jump in the water, then the beavers win, ostensibly. And it's actually a really funny level. This is one of the levels I'm very happy with how it came out. It's hilarious. The beavers are super annoying. If a tree falls on you, you die. So that like sometimes they'll chop a tree with their teeth and end up killing you. You can kill them by throwing them. You can kill them with the axes, as well as here's an example of the guy communicating information to you without text so that it's global and I don't have to add in any words or anything. So this is him requesting wood. Obviously, an exclamation point isn't always universal, but to some extent, most cultures know what an exclamation point is, or at least the red. Sometimes, color is a big one too. Red means different things in different languages. Red is a very lucky and auspicious color in Chinese, for example. And obviously here we relate it to different things, like urgency, anger, things like that. So even color isn't something that's totally universal. So pretty enjoyable level. I love this level. I really love how it's designed. So, but that all came from the basic design kernel of a level without a bridge. So this is another level that has a similar seedling. At the time I was doing a Patreon thing where people would request ideas and you could vote on like what thing you wanted me to make. So this level was incorporate bees. Okay. And in order to incorporate bees, I studied bees a lot, and I thought, what would be a really funny joke is if I just put a level of bees that plays like a real hive, okay? So I'm just going to let this play out. So how this works is a boss level, okay? You have the queen bee. She's running around placing eggs, okay? In a hive, all of the bees have different roles. So I tried to include almost all the roles here. The only role not represented is the male drones, which are responsible for fertilizing the eggs, I believe. But so you'll see the queen is going to run around. She's going to drop eggs. Okay. The nurses are going to pull the eggs out. They're going to basically take care of them, right? If the eggs pop out onto the ground after a certain amount of time, they will fulfill one of the roles of the bees. Every bee, except for the queen, has a lifespan. When the bees die, the janitor bee, which there literally is a janitor bee in the beehive, will clean up the bodies and throw them out. Okay. So you got the nurses that drop the eggs. If you jump on the eggs or kill a bee, you get a stinger. You can use the stinger to attack the queen. When the queen gets angry, she flies towards one of these planets, is what I'm going to call them, and she knocks all the eggs off of it. So you can use that to try to knock the eggs off. You also have to basically try to kill these balls, these little eggs here. Because otherwise they're going to hatch into more things. But there is a limit on population for how many of each type of worker there is, etc. When you finally kill the queen, you get a brief moment where all of these bees will fly and try to attack you, and you have a brief moment where you can get off the bridge. The reason it's a brief moment is because one of those bees will become the new queen. That's how it actually works, is when the queen dies, she releases a pheromone, and one of the new bees takes up the mentorship, basically. Mentorship, whatever, the role. All of these, as well, in case you don't know about bees, all of these roles are female. Male drones, all they do is fertilize the eggs. They don't do anything else. Female bees are the ones that go out and get the pollen. They handle the eggs. They do a lot of stuff. I'm sure the male drones do maybe something else, but I'm pretty sure it's just that. So I took real life and I put it as best as I could into Jump Off the Bridge because I thought it'd be funny. So... Damn, I know you were talking about the build the bridge level is good. Addo's idea, level with no gravity. There's no way to jump because you won't jump into the water, and jumping kills you because of the lack of O2. You just have to walk and walk until you jump into a cloud, which has the ascension challenge. Interesting idea. I'll keep that in mind, Addo. I'll keep that in mind. This level, I was trying to incorporate a snake reference, so I briefly met the guy that made Pogo Stuck. And he reached out to me to borrow the Time Wizard so that he could troll Forsen in Pogo Stuck. And when I was watching that and I was enjoying the game, I really loved his black snake that he has in the game. For those of you that don't know, Pogo Stuck is like this, you gotta climb up as high as you can, but there's a lot of stuff that knocks you back down. It's kind of like a Fadian game in that sense. Bennett Foddy's, getting over it type game thing, but really challenging. There's like an archetype for these games rising. Anyways, Pogo Stuck is one of those, and they have this big snake in there. It's red and black, I believe, similar to this. And if it eats you, you go all the way back to the start. So in this game, I wanted to take that snake because I really love the idea of the snake, a big snake. But I also wanted to incorporate a snake reference to the game Snake. So what I did is I have a snake here. You wake him up, and he moves just like a snake does in the game Snake, the old arcade game. One of the funny things about this level is when he does eat you, if you let it sit for long enough, you'll go through his digestive system, and then eventually he'll crap out some bones at the end. What I didn't know is that there is a level in my game where you can get armor, and somebody has apparently taken it to the point where they've gotten the armor. The armor gives you an extra hit, basically. It's a reference to ghouls and goblins, ghosts and goblins. And armor gives you one extra hit. It's like the only way to get an extra life and jump off the bridge. But if you beat a level or change a room without the armor, then you lose the armor, basically. But somebody has brought an armor all the way to this level and let the snake eat them, and the snake just craps them out, and then they can continue. It was the funniest thing ever. Why does the snake have the privilege to jump off the bridge? You know what? He's just special like you. Maybe there's some hidden lore there. No, I didn't put anything in there. I don't know why. This is a really specific example, but I wanted to show that through game design, you often end up creating problems that you need to solve. So this level, it's a golf level. You can play golf. I used to work in golf. I don't know. I never played golf, but I was a manager for a golf course for a while. And so the problem I had was in this golf level, you can hit the ball. It gives you the predestination telegraphing of where the ball is going to go. If you land in the grass, it's considered the rough, and then so your hit is less. If you land in the sand, it's even worse. It's like a bunker shot. But I had this problem, and the problem was relatively simple, but it was when you move off or change directions to aim in a different direction, the player would just float, and it looked really silly. And so the solution I ended up coming up with was that you literally just fall down. So if you're on an edge, you can only shoot from the direction that doesn't involve you falling off the edge. Pretty funny. Pretty entertaining. Another aspect of this level is the goose, which will steal your club. Me and geese go extremely back. So there technically is a lose condition, because I believe if you shoot your ball down here, it's loss. or I think you die. You touch these little spinning blades thing. Technically, you lose, unless you're talking about the last level. Me and Geese go way back. I wanted to show a video recently. For context, my girlfriend and I were late at night trying to go somewhere, and there were geese in our way. So I figured, oh, I'm just gonna like get up and go scare the geese off so we can drive through. And this is what happened. Dude, I was not expecting them to fucking attack me, bro. Look at, I'm there for like 2 seconds and they come right after me, man. Holy. So that's an experience with geese. Yeah, dude, it's it's so good. It's so funny. I gotta post that video online at some point. But yeah, it's super funny. Yeah, the geese, bro. Um, so this level, uh, I was having a problem. So here's the level. I'm gonna play. So a new player coming to this level doesn't realize, they're just gonna hit this ball and roll down a hill. Okay, but I'm gonna show you how to play the level. So you can pick up snow and you can throw it at this polar bear. And you can stun them temporarily, which you can use to jump off the bridge, basically. So after a certain amount of time, it basically, if you end up getting hit by the big snowball, okay, you roll to the left side. You roll to this screen over here, and you roll down the hill. And then every time you restart, you're stuck at the bottom of the hill, okay? But I had this problem. People were cheesing this level. They would just quit to the menu, and then they would quit to the menu, and then they just come back to the basic this level. They would just go right back here. And I didn't want them to be able to cheese it. Like if you got knocked down, I want you to suffer. So what I did was I solved it by, whenever you get down to this hill, I literally have something in the save file that saves that you were down here. So every time you try to click back to that level, it goes straight back to the bottom of this hill. There is no way you get a opportunity to fight this guy unless you beat going up this hill, basically. So yeah, there's an aspect of that there. Some of it, like I said, you're going to figure out as people play the game how to develop the game to fit those edge case scenarios. I didn't typically think of somebody just quitting to the menu to get around this. So is this just a showcase of level? So these are a showcase of some things I solved, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give people like my perspective for how I solve stuff so that you can use it in your own way, is what my goal was here. And yeah, to varying success. Some of it is a showcase. Some of it is also just talking about like the thing on the right hand side here. I am coming up with a problem, or I find a problem and I'm solving it, and this is how I solved it, basically. I'd like to give you just like a basic of like how my head works and like what I'm trying to solve, essentially. Here's a level. So this is about solving an abstract metaphor. So I had this metaphor, right? As a game developer and a creative person, I struggle sometimes with like a constant moving of goalposts. That's something you'll find with like perfectionism, is that the more you try to perfect something, the like less perfect it is, because it's just going to keep moving goalposts, essentially. So I wanted to sort of like defeat that like tangibly in the game. So I have something here, a predefined goal. And then as you get closer to the goal, he runs away. He's a moving goalpost. And the only way to beat him is to use the fact that he's pushing you away against him to break the barriers that prevent you from jumping off the bridge. So essentially my solution metaphorically here is that I'm using like the jester archetype here. I'm using my playfulness in order to overcome the circumvention of the goal. You can't actually beat that goal, but you can use the fact that you're avoiding goals to beat the goal of jumping off the bridge, right? It's like a silly abstract metaphor solution, basically, for something I was dealing with. As well as, depending on the language you play in, this is actually in every language. That's something I had to translate. I had to draw by hand, look up what the goal is in 11 different languages and write it out. So even a little decision like that, like 2 words just scrawled, like ends up growing into like a bigger thing to do, because of the fact that like the game is global. I want to meet as many cultures as I can possibly when I'm making the game. So that's something to think about. Even just little things have, leading effects, basically. So now these are spoilers. So I have 3 levels here. These are upcoming levels that I'm planning on doing for the 7th anniversary for Jump Out the Bridge. So if you don't want to see these spoilers, don't watch it. I'm gonna try not to spoil like the solution of the levels, but you will see them. So this is an example. This level is called Spider's Den. And this is an example of the creative problem of utilizing mechanics with themes, okay? So I had this idea of doing like a Mario type level where Mario in the castle levels, he always has like these long climbing sections. And I have ladders in the game and the ability to climb, but I didn't have a lot of use of them in the game. And so I wanted a level that was literally just a giant ladder. And I wanted to be in the Spider's Den. I was at Mackinac Island, in Michigan, and I was sitting on the rocks. It was a vacation I went with my girlfriend, and I noticed that in the rocks there were all these spiders that kept like darting, and I was like observing the way they were moving intensely, and I was trying to mimic that as best as I could. I was inspired to do a level on it basically because it's basically they had these rock beaches. There's just a ton of rocks. They're kind of small, but there was a ton of spiders, and everywhere you looked there was always a spider. It was like constantly jutting out, doing something. It would like stop, run really forward. So I wanted to do a level like that. So thematically, my theme is spiders. I'm using the fact that like it's web in the background. The lose condition is if you get caught by a spider, but also here the bridge itself is a web. So if you jump on it, you can't get back basically. So you have to kind of actually avoid the bridge in this. And every time you die, it'll add another corpse to this like bridge here. It'll be like another kill. So there's a sense of like, you know, however many deaths you have will visually show as well. Just a little side thing there. I have a couple more obstacles to do for this level, but this is the level of the mechanical theme is spiders, and I'm trying to use aspects of webs, getting caught in webs, spider movement, and different types of stuff like that to make a level like show here. I have some eggs that haven't been hatched yet, or things that, you know, things like that I have to do, but that's just an example of that. Upcoming level. So, this one, Addo, this is actually the level I was thinking about. I'm going to try not to spoil it as much as possible. But, so, Addo, specifically, likes a lot of these rule discovery games. And what a rule discovery game is generally, I think, they're a game where you have to figure out the rules. They're like puzzles, and you have to figure out how they interact and how they work. And then using your playing around with it, you solve the puzzle and essentially learn the rules of the game. Okay, there's no tutorials that you just figure out by doing, and it's like an action reaction kind of thing. So I had this idea of like commitment and like doors closing and opening, because there's like a saying where it's like, you know, one door opened is another door closed, right? So I had this idea of painting doors. Okay, so as you play the level, you have primary colors, and every time, obviously you can see here, but if two doors have the same color, they open. If there's two or more colors for a door, they close. So your goal is you have to navigate the resource management of certain paint buckets in order to solve. So you have to go through certain doors. You got to like try to figure out what goes where. And you only have a limited number of paint to do it. And you can only access certain doors at certain times based on your thing. So Addo, I really think this is a level you're going to super like. My only problem with the level as it stands, it's done. But the only problem is I'm worried I added like 2 hours of gameplay because of this level, because I don't know if the puzzle might be too hard to solve. The solution I have for the puzzle, I'm wondering if other people come up with the same solution or a different solution or what, or perhaps there's a solution I didn't think of. But anyways, we're going to see how that goes in testing. It'll be out at the end of the month here, so you can see how it goes. But this is a level that I was specifically thinking of you when I was making, so I'm glad you're here. All right, and finally, this is an alternate lose condition. I've heard you say this about a level before, but I think your whole game is rule discovery. That's actually true. That's probably a good way to say that. My whole game is kind of rule discovery. Because, yeah, sometimes I'm not really informing the player necessarily how something goes. Yeah, that's true. I can see rule discovery. Interesting to think about. That is true. You're right, Steve. Good thought. Good thought. I guess it is. I guess I haven't ever sat down and made like completely a pure rule discovery level, and this one felt very puzzly and very rule discovery-y. But you're right. You are right. There is a lot of rule discovery in Jump Off the Bridge. So this is the final preview level that I'll show you. I wanted to play with an alternate lose condition. So losing in the game primarily is like dying, or sometimes it's getting like stuck or stalled or something like that. But I wanted to play with an alternate lose condition. What if there was a level where the lose condition was a happy ending? What if you you try to beat the level, but you keep losing because you keep getting a happy ending? Okay. So here's the level. So you have Wyatt Sawyer. He says, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. And it's true. The town isn't big enough for the two of you. Now, if you just stand there, he'll just gun you down, okay? Because, the town isn't big enough for the two of us. One of you has to go. But if you grab the town and make it big enough for the two of you, he's swooned. He romantically falls in love with you. It's the most romantic thing you could ever... He said the town wasn't big enough, and you made it big enough for both of you. And thusly, he has to take you. He has to grab you and put you on his horse, and then you guys ride off into the sunset. And that's the lose. You lose. You can't win that level. He chases you around. That's the level. So, spoiling a little bit of the puzzle there for you guys, but yeah, that's the lose condition. It's you guys ride off into the sunset, and it's beautiful. All right. So, that's a showcase of some levels, some past, present, future stuff. Now I want to talk a little bit about nearing the end of this conclusion here of this lecture. I want to talk about general advice, okay, beyond education. I was giving this to a college class, and so I wanted to give like some basic general advice for things that it took me a really long time to learn that I thought would be really beneficial. So after learning is unlearning. You're going to realize that going through school, you're going to learn a lot of stuff that you need to unlearn, okay? Part of life is this learning and unlearning and then figuring out which to choose, like, what type of habit or what type of idea, and each idea will affect how you act. So some of the things that I've learned that I've had to unlearn, this is a really big one for me. School trains you to treat outcomes as judgments, okay? So judgments as in like a finality, okay? Outcome as in like a success or a failure. Think about like grades, for example. Okay, when you're in school, if you get a grade, that grade's permanently on your record. Your GPA is affected. If you fail a test, that contributes to your total grade. If you fail 3 tests, you're like losing points there, okay? Real life does not treat outcomes as judgments, okay? Real work and real life requires you to treat them as data. That's all they are. They're just data. Okay, every failure is data. There's a ton of levels that I've shown you here, and each one of them is like data. Like sometimes I put out a level and it sucks, and I have to refine it. I have to add it and updates, change things, edit things, make something more understandable. Some people don't get the like aspect of a level. So all it is just data. Okay, those outcomes are not judgments. They're not finalities. Okay, real work, doing stuff, you got to treat it as data. Okay, that's something that took me a long time to unlearn. There's no grade. There is no pass or fail. It is just refinement. It's just choosing to do stuff. So that's something that's important, is to understand that aspect of it. And welcome, Void Meme Maker. I love levels that suck. They're usually more funny. Yeah, that's true. The levels that suck are more funny. I think the levels that allow you to be creative and like sort of access that inner child, that's what's important. Okay. Another thing, something I had to unlearn, the myth of Jack. If you're English and an English speaker, you probably have heard the like little phrase, Jack of all trades, master of none. Okay. So after the Industrial Revolution, there's been this huge spike in specialization, okay? This idea is that if you spend like 10,000 hours on something, you'll become a master. Okay, that's stupid. Do not believe that. Okay, that's a false misnomer. The reality is that your ability to master something depends on all the other things you've learned, okay? You cannot just single-mindedly focus on something and expect to get better at it. There is like a diminishing returns graph on that. Your ability to master something depends on your ability to understand other things. For example, your ability of like learning cooking is going to improve your nutrition, which is going to make, exercise better. Or for example, if you're playing music and you read literature and poetry, you understand like rhythm and tempo and like stressed and unstressed syllables, like all of those things are going to contribute better to the mastery of the skill you're trying to master. Everything is interconnected. So this idea that you can specialize in something, it's stupid. Toss it out. Get rid of it. people that are good at something are more often than not good at like a multitude amount of things. Do not narrow-mindedly horse blind yourself, like put the horse blinders on and just focus on one thing. If you're struggling with something or an aspect of something or some type of category, go to another category. Go to something else, try to learn something else, and that learning will fundamentally add to your perspective and the nuance that you have of the thing you're trying to learn. So that's the myth of Jack. Do not fall for the specialization bullshit. Another thing, this is something I learned when I took a class on playing guitar, and I thought this was really useful, and I want to impart it to you guys. Okay. So, yes, Addo. So, when I was doing guitar, there was different modes of using your skills. So, game development, for example. There is a practice mode, a play mode, and a perform mode. Okay, so practice is like learning new types of coding, understanding different languages, like learning math, just practicing. That's building your repertoire for the skill. Okay, playing is another mode you can use your skill in. It's taking those things that you practice and kind of just playing with them, like opening the environment, like trying a weird mechanic, just playing around. There is no expectation. It's just play. And then performance is performing a perfect execution of the things that you've practiced and the things you've played. So like when it came to guitar, there was a mode to practice where you'd like learn the chords and learn the notes. And then there was playing around where you just play with them and try to get used to them and the feel and the rhythm and how they sound. And then there was performing. It was perfectly in tempo, like repeating them back. That's something you can use in basically every skill in life. And I'm sure there's more categories you can use. Those are just the ones that my guitar teacher gave to me. But think about this idea of using your skills in different modes. Okay, because you might interact with that skill on different levels, but putting it this way makes it more tangibly like a category. Like today I'm going to spend 30 minutes practicing, 30 minutes playing, 30 minutes performing, like for example, in Jump Off the Bridge, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do a new thing in the programming. I'm going to figure out how to do like whatever, some kind of easing function or something, whatever. Second thing is I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to try to find a mechanic that works for that, etc. And then performing is I'm going to, replicate it and perform it in the most perfect variety that I can, or at least like use it to its extent. It doesn't work for everything, but you understand what I'm saying. It's like showing other people a performance, a recitation of that skill. And finally, motivation is unreliable. Systems are not. This is like a pretty general advice that I see tossed around a lot. But the basic premise is your motivation and your inspiration for something is unreliable. Like just toss it out the window. If your goal is to read a book, don't have a goal of reading a book. Instead, have time every day where you read for like 5 minutes. Even if you read for 1 minute, even if you read one sentence, the system of reading one sentence every day is going to bring you closer to finishing the book. Because more often than not, you're going to start a book and you're going to, do your 1 minute, you're going to end up reading more than a sentence. No one's going to sit down and read a sentence. And even if they did, well, you met your quota for the day, so that's fine. You're still making progress towards your goal. It's a system, essentially. Same thing for game design, okay? You might have motivation to do game design, but setting aside 30 minutes to do something is a system that actually gives you fruits of your labor rather than relying on some perfect moment where everything lines up, the stars and everything in the sky is lined up and it's all it's never going to happen, okay? And even if it does, it's going to happen less frequently than if you just had a system where you sat down every day and did some bullshit, okay? So just keep that in mind. And finally, if I'm going to impart any piece of information that I want you to take away from this, any one quintessential piece of advice that I can leave you with as an aspiring person in this world we live in on Earth, eat liver. Okay, look, man, I know you're going to think this is silly. You're going to think I'm joshing you. You're gonna think I'm pulling your chain. Dude, I'm telling you. Be a dumbass. That's the advice. Unironically, could be good advice, okay? People overthink stuff a lot. But no, seriously, eat liver. Here's my recipe. If you haven't eaten liver before, soak it in milk for like 20 minutes to like an hour. That removes a lot of the bitter flavor. If you don't like the flavor of liver, try calf liver. It's more expensive, but it has less of the like bitterness. Liver is something that is the most nutritionally dense food, okay? Only old people eat it. You got to get on their level, okay? You got to fill out those macros, the micros. Liver has so many nutrients, and more specifically, everyone I know is pretty much vitamin A deficient, okay? Vitamin A is not in carrots. Okay, there's a lie out there that like carrots improve your eyesight. That's a lie. That was like bullshit war propaganda. Vitamin A is not in carrots. What is in carrots is a building block to vitamin A, but it's not the same. It's not the same vitamin A. So you're probably vitamin A deficient. Okay, vitamin A is primarily stored in the liver. If you do not eat liver, you are not getting vitamin A. Okay, that's just a done deal. Okay, so take a picture of this, write this. First off, whatever. Eat liver and onions. Okay, that's my recipe. It's great. You'll love it. And you can't even trust carrots anyways. Not only are they lying to you about vitamin A being in there because it's war propaganda for eyesight, but baby carrots aren't even baby carrots. They're just offcuts rounded down. Why would you even trust big carrot? It's totally bullshit. There's no reason to trust them. They've just been lying to you the entire time to try to sell you carrots that are more convenient to eat. They're not baby carrots. It's bullshit. All right, so this is Finn. This is it. The real end of my presentation, not to be confused with the feint from earlier that I gave you. That's the end of the presentation. So thank you for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask them in chat. I will answer them, but we completed our task. All I wanted to do was have a recording of that. But haha, big carrot. Oh, I thought it ended a long time ago. No, the liver was part of it, bro. The liver is part of the whole thing, dude. That's a main part of it. Yeah, dude, big carrot. Why even trust them, dude? You can't even trust these guys, these orange heads, bro. They're all lying. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was, like I said, I was giving the talk, and then I ended up recording the whole video, and my mic didn't work. So I was like, you know what? I got to do this again. I got to run it back. Now that it's in my head, I'm supposed to be doing another talk, probably in the fall for some kind of college event or something like that. So I'll try to record it again, this time with the double backup of making sure to press the record button on my DJI audio mics. But you know what? The talk went good. Okay. It was very personal. Like I said, it was like 8 people, but I didn't get a lot of laughter. So it was a little awkward. It was a little awkward. And I was wearing hearing aids, and the room was like really big. So even if there was like a chuckle, it was hard to hear. So, yeah, please forget the press record. Well, what I was going to do is I was going to record it and then put it on YouTube so you guys can, but whatever. You guys enjoyed it. I know you did. I'll make sure everything's streamed for you, Addo. Don't worry. Where's the Addo portrait? Yeah, should I do an Addo portrait for the paint bucket level? I feel like I was actually thinking I still want to do an Addo level at some point. So that's also been on my mind. Find the Addos are forever in my brain embedded. Some other loose advice I could probably give you as a game developer: use Obsidian. That's like a great program. Here, let me just pull it up. My thing. So recently, I have all these ideas for Jump Off the Bridge, and the problem is it's like hard to quantify a bunch of ideas. And so what I have here is I took all my ideas and tried to arrange them in a visual space, and then I started color coding them for like what I want to do for the update, and then like the higher priority ones that I think are entertaining ideas, and then I have them all in code blocks. Try to find a visual way to represent your information if you're going to be a game developer. I think that helps. It helps me. It might not help you, but just some extra advice, basically. So yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say. I just want to do a brief stream. I'm probably going to go take a nap because I got up way too early. I was stressing about my my presentation. It ended up going good though. And people ask interesting questions. So it ended up being pretty good. One of the questions I got was like about, I actually got a lot of interesting questions. Some of them were like about legality and like trademarking and piracy and things like that. And some were about like player bases and reaching them. It's just kind of like interesting general information. But yeah. Okay. That's basically it. You're going to make an updated version of your HBS fighting game. I can't wait. Dude, you making those platforming. Oh, Steve, you also made a game too. But Addo, your platforming, those really difficult platforming games were like a nightmare, dude. I remember that one I was trying to beat. I think you were like a circle and you were going vertically up. Oh my God, I could never beat that. And then you had that moving platform thing that I had to avoid. Oh my God. And then Steve, I saw you made a Game Jam game too. I was going to take a look at that. But I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, anyways, that's it. That's all I got from you guys. I'm giving up. I'm gonna go nap. I got up at 5 a.m. It's 13 hours since then. So thank you guys for enjoying my talk. If you have any other questions, you can join the Discord if you aren't already there. My question is, can I include a tumor in the liver? You know, if you eat a tumor, I don't think that gives you a tumor. But I also don't think tumor would be chewable. But I don't really know. It's a quick, simple one this time. Yeah, you're talking about for your game? Well, here, I'll look at it. If it's quick and simple, let me pull it up on stream. I gotta give you the dopamine of somebody playing your game. Hold on a second. Let me look at it. We'll take a quick look before I give up. Where's your... I got your server. It's like fourth one down. Boom. Nah, dude. We're playing your game before I nap, bro. You said it's quick and simple? We're doing your game. Oh, I gotta get that dopamine too. Yeah, you do. Alright, let's see what he's got here. So, signal, frog. Wait for the signal, click and touch, get as many points as you can. LD Jam 59, theme signal. Okay. Thanks, bro. Yeah, no, dude. You don't need to thank me. Does it got sound? I don't have anything that you haven't played yet. Oh, man. Addo, you gotta get on it. I kind of like the frog. Version 1.0.0.1. Top scores? No one's got a top score? Well, I'm going to be the first. When the frog wakes up, everything times by 2 before he gets angry. Whatever you do, if the frog is angry, don't touch anything. -10 times score. Click when this is green for points. This guy's great. If the green light is on, scoring is reversed. Wait for the signal. Oh, click it when it's green. I see. Oh, simple. Oh. What was this made? I think this is made on Construct 3. Oh, it's not online score, it's just your own. Damn, I can't compete against the masses, bro. Okay, first off, if you're... Oh, I did it when his eyes were open. Game Maker advice, if you're going to do local scores, make sure you have your top score, Steve, so that I can compete against you. I want to be able to fight you. Okay. Oh, he's angry. Don't touch anything. Oh, I click red. Why does it say minus? Oh, if the green light is on... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. There's too much going on. Hold on. I got this now. Steve's making me use my full peripheral vision here. Okay, I gotta keep looking left and right. He's not angry. Green light's not on. Okay, I see it. Easy. Number get bigger. Okay, his eyes are open. Put him... Oh, green light's on. I see. Okay. Okay, he's not angry. Is the light on? I can't really tell. Oh, the light is on. That's kind of hard to see. Okay. Oh, I think I messed up again. Yeah, seeing this light is... Okay, it's off. Shit. Oh, he's angry. Damn, bro. Okay, I gotta beat one at least with a positive score. That's my goal. What are the hints? Oh, I can turn them off. Nice. 427? Damn, bro. But it's you gotta get a lucky RNG, right? Because sometimes this guy's gonna be angry and sometimes the light's gonna be on. Damn, bro. That light's staying on forever, dude. The light's totally destroying me, bro. Look at it, dude. Look, it's still green. It's been like 20 seconds. Oh, my God. Finally turned off. Oh, he's angry now. I wish I could pet... Oh. Oh. Can I turn off the light, too? Wait. Can the frog just... What? Okay. I can't kill the frog. Good thought. Can I kill this guy? Sign red and light on. Oh, I see. Oh, never mind. Okay, that makes so much sense. I didn't even think about that. Bro, you're a genius. This game's great. I actually really like this one. That's awesome. Wait. Okay. I see it now, so I can still click. I was just going to say, I wish I could click the Wish I could turn the light on and off. Wait, clicking anywhere. Wait, you don't have to click this. You can just click any. Oh, you can click anywhere. You don't gotta click on that. Wait, it's red. Oh God. Okay. Steve, you're like retraining my brain here. Okay, he's angry. Man, losing 10 points because the frog is angry is a nightmare. Oh, wait, I gotta do red now. Come on, turn red, buddy. Okay. Oh, wait, I gotta do green? Damn, bro, this is tough. What? Oh, he's angry. Dude, this is awesome. This is great. I need the hit. So just play the original HBO. Dude, you gotta give me a link to that if you want me to play that. This is great, Steve. This is really good. I like how this turned out. Signal Frog. It's a perfect example of Signal, you know? Title, discard. Angry Frog clicks take away as well. Yeah, I see that. Getting a positive score is hard enough on its own. You really gotta watch that frog, bro. Also, dude, are you trolling me with this green tree back here and the green light? Like, what was the thought process? Is that on purpose? Are you just trying to troll me, man? It makes it so much more difficult. I think the frog has a... Oh, there you go. Got hit by him. I sent it on Discord. Okay, I'll look at it in a second. Wait, ugh, man. The cloud analyzer. I forget this how the British people spell analyze. We spell it with a Y here. Wait, right, oh. Ugh. He's hitting me. It's so simple, it needed to be harder. Ah, I like it hard. Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say, it is really challenging. I like the concept of just stuff happening and you have to seize the moment. That's pretty entertaining. We're getting a positive score this time. 400, dude? Oh my god, dude. You got some clicker pros, man. I'm gonna have to make a macro for this. Nice. Great. Yeah, I want your score on top. That's the only update I want. I want to see Steve in the top. 400. 427 is what I want to see. Impressive. Thank you. Well, compared to the 400, bro, there's a lot of room for desire. There's a lot more left to be desired, I should say. Good game, Steve. That was awesome. All right, so then we're going to do Addo's game, and then I'm going to call it, and I'm going to sleep. But here we go. Let us... So you said you're going to make a new version of this Addo. So WASD, arrow keys to move, click to shoot, space to switch weapon. The top score is on the itch page. Oh, it is on the itch page. Okay. It needs to be in-game, bro. Something I really liked about your game, Steve, was you had yourself in them. So I want you visually to be like thumbsing up, like your score, you know, like pointing to it and being like, this is my score, dude. See if you can beat it. And then I want you to be sad and depressed, like demoralized if you beat the score. That would be great. That would be really funny. That's what I would do. All right, full screen. So Addo says he's gonna make it. Wait, did I read the instructions? WASD to move, click to shoot, space. Oh, this is the yeah, I think I remember this. Nice. Oh. Okay, I can just hold the button down. Damn, bro, these guys tank. Got 100 HP, though. And a Halo blade that shoots. The music is bumping, bro. It's bumping my eardrums. Damn, these guys eat bullets for breakfast. I was worried I was looking a bit narcissistic to aggravate myself, but I will put me in for you. Yeah, please, dude. I think it's funny. There's not, yeah, I guess there's a fine line between narcissism and like confidence, but I like the idea of you being in the game. I think it's really funny. And it's also really funny just to see like the character sprites and like your friends and stuff and Jumping Steve, so. I definitely think that'd be a good bit. Also, Edo, this is like pretty good. It reminds me of a game I loved growing up. I'll see if I can find it later. It's like this blob game, and you could like get upgrades. Oh my god, I played the shit out of it for hours, dude. This is just like that. Now we need upgrades. I bet there's a boss. Oh, you're not switching your weapon? Oh, there are other weapons? Wait, what was the thing? Oh, space to switch weapon. Oh, dude! Sorry, I forgot. Got that weapon? Oh my goodness. Oh, dude, we got mines? Bro! Wait, can I just... Oh, I still take damage. How does this work? Oh, okay. It's like the edges. But they can still hit you. Alright, what's the best... Honestly, best weapon is this. There's no better weapon, bro. I figured out the way to beat your game. Oh, shit. I'm getting overwhelmed. Honestly, if this game would benefit from the Johnny size small thing. The ability to turn small to, like, weave. Oh, no! I ran off screen! Am I dead? Wait, am I immune? Oh, no, I'm here. Okay. Honestly, this one might be pretty good, too. Oh, I died. How did I die? Can I restart? Oh, we're doing another run. We're doing another one. I don't know why Malware Bites keeps giving me that thing there. Okay, now we know how to play the game. Oh, the second weapon damages you. Damn, bro, it took 15 damage from... Does this one damage me too? No? The second weapon, bro. It better be actually really good if it does that shit. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's not as good as this. Wait. Wrong one. This. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. It's like laying mines out, bro. I kind of wish I had a knockback weapon, too. Is there a weapon that is this knockback? This one knockback? This one? No? Knockback weapon would be cool. Oh, I have more weapons upgrade. Yeah, dude, do whatever you want. This is awesome so far. I like the progression. Is there a boss at wave 10? That's kind of what I was anticipating. We're cooking this guy. Yeah, Saw's kind of weak. Yeah, Saw's a little bit weak. If it was like a... problem is you got to design it so that it can't just be used all the time. So I understand why you went that way. Like, maybe the click thing is only like limited fuel and then you gotta wait for it to recharge or something. Because then you could like go to the saw, hold it down, use it, get a huge saw cut, maybe knock back a bunch of enemies or something, and then you could swap while it's recharging, sort of thing. Like, that's the best way to do a saw. It's only weak because you gotta get so close to the enemies and you gotta kite them. It's not too bad, but you just don't want to take that damage. It's like dangerous to take that damage. I don't think I can use the saw though. Yeah, I can't clear these guys with that shit. This one does damage, bro. No, it doesn't. This is better. I like this one. This is my favorite weapon. It's got splash. It also acts as a mine too, like a caltrop that they can... Is it a caltrop? Caltrop they can walk over? Like a spike? It doesn't damage you? Bro, it's like clearly S tier. Saw is like bottom tier. As it stands. As it spins, if you will. To be more Saw-like. The little guys remind me of the droids from Star Wars. Little mouse droids. I used to play Star Wars miniatures with my buddy. We still do from time to time. And I got a couple of those mouse droid things. Because, dude, Star Wars Minis, it's a shame they killed that game. I think they tried to make a new version of it, but that was like such a fun game. You can buy all these like little Star Wars models, and the game is like super easy. You can quickly get into it. People can build armies. It's like the easy version of like Warhammer, basically. I have like a droid army for Star Wars miniatures. It's pretty funny. And then the the like garbage can droid has a ability that's like self-destruct. So if you like use a bunch of points and add a bunch of them to your like army, you could just have like a chain reaction of a bunch of droids blowing up if you can get the positioning right on the board. It's really funny. Cool game. Miniatures they don't make them anymore, so you probably 3D print some variation of it and just use the cards to play. Actually, that's probably the future of that game, is downloading a 3D print file, 3D printing it, and then going from there. But oh, I'm gonna die, bro. Oh man, yeah. I want to buy I want to get money. I want to buy stuff in between rounds. That's great. Here, actually, real quick, let me see if I can find the. You have to look at me for a second. What is the slime game I used to play, bro? Morphous slime flash game or something? Oh my god, I played this thing a ton. Oh yeah, it is called Amorphous. Bro, can we play it? Where? Oh, is it on? Is it on here? Oh yeah, bro. This game, dude, I played the shit out of this as a kid. You gotta try this. I gotta send you the link. Here, I'm gonna put it in my chat. I'll put it in both chats here, and then I'm gonna put it in my Discord for you guys. I guess I'll just put it in general. Whatever. This game, bro. Okay, look at this thing. This is similar to your game, Addo. Can I full screen this? What the hell is full screen on this? Gotta zoom in. Alright. Basically, how you gotta do this is, so you got a bestiary where you can see all the gloopals and blobs you've killed. And then you can go to practice mode. Oh, wait. Is it just single nest? Yeah. Okay. So in the game, you're automatically moving towards your mouse, and every time you click to slash, you stop, right? And then you get points based on how many you kill. And then you have to deal with newer and newer enemies in between each round. You can kind of see the points in the lower right, but they're a little cut off. It's probably a better site to play this game on, to be honest. But well, let's see if I can just show you some of the variety of different stuff, because it gets really interesting. Your positioning is integral in this game, but it reminds me exactly of what you made, Addo. I played. Okay, so now this guy comes up. He shoots stuff at you. You can cut the bullets, but he kind of remains on the screen. And then when you kill him, he turns into two little blobs that do become big and eventually become the same blob. Okay, and then later on, as the game goes on and advances, these guys, these original blobs, they can combine with each other. They can hit other blobs. This guy explodes. You got to hit him from a distance, and he drops lava. So if you touch the lava now, that becomes a floor hazard. So you can't get on that. This game is like so beautifully designed for like a random flash game from the aughts, bro. It is so great. It all is about positioning and like trying to maintain, avoid. And if you bump into a slime, you get hit. If you get hit again, you die. So there's like power-ups, I believe, at some point. Okay, now we got shooting blobs. Now we got these guys. These are sticky blobs, so if you touch them, you get slowed. All the other blobs get slowed too. You can use the fire to attack other blobs. If you get them into the lava, they take damage and die. Dude, it is this game, bro. It's so good. You ever play the Atari Lynx games? I've played some. I think I've played some. I've emulated a few. Is there one in specific that you were thinking of? There's some weird Atari Lynx games, bro. That console was like experimental. Oh, and then you got these biter guys that try to charge you and kill you. And it keeps escalating from there. It's amazing. It's a glorious game. And I think if you die, you do get upgrades. Here, let me kill myself. Can I die? Yeah, so this guy, he shoots these, they get stuck on you, and they grow, and you can't get them off. Let me die, actually. I think that, yeah, lava kills me. Slime World? I don't think I played Slime World. So if you go to the menu, can you upgrade shit? You got your bestiary. It shows you, like, the lore of each one. I don't know if you can get upgrades. No, maybe not. Yeah, okay. There's no upgrades in this. Okay, but it's still a really good game. I love this game. Maybe I was playing Amorphous Plus. Maybe that has upgrades. But the saw now works when you hold it, increases in size, but makes your speed much lower. Dude, that's a good idea. Scrapyard Dog was a great one too. I'll have to look those up. Let's see. Slime World, Atari, Lynx. This will be the end of my stream. I'm just gonna look at these real quick. Oh yeah, dude, I've seen Slime World. Yeah, bro. Slime World. I've seen this game before. It kind of reminds me of the what is that game? That Apogee game. There's like an Apogee game, Commander Keen. It kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, Commander Keen. And what was the other one? It was Scrapyard Dog. Bro, what the hell is this? Dude, I kind of like the graphics. Look at that mountain. Oh man, it's got variety, dude. I actually really like how close up it is. Oh, you can even throw stuff too. I'm gonna give this a play. I don't think I've ever. Oh, dude, got bears. Minecart level, obligatory minecart level on every platformer. There has to be at least one. I don't think I have one in Jump Off the Bridge yet. We need a minecart level. So many cool secrets. Oh, dude, I can't spoil them. Then I gotta play this. I'm adding it to the list. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for looking at my lecture. I'll probably post the lecture to the main channel too, but for now, it'll reside in the live section of the archive. So thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for keeping me coming. Thank you for being active listeners. Thank you for participating. I hope you guys have a good day. I'm gonna go nap. I'm gonna go read some manga. I'm gonna just chillax. And then I got another hike planned at the end of the month, and then I'm gonna go camping. So hold on, let me send a video. Send it. We'll video out Addo. We'll video it out. And then Thursday I'll be back for my continuation of the Speedos stream. We're gonna go through Speedos' legacy some more. I think I got a couple more episodes on that. So it's in Discord. Okay. I will grab it. Oh, bro. Look, he's already on it. Oh, bro, that's so much better. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that works perfect. That's great. Yeah, work. And then he goes slower so he can still take damage. That's great. If you did want to do like a bar that descends so that they couldn't spam that forever, that would work as well. But I like your solution. Very creative solution. I can't wait. Yeah, keep me updated on how that's going. And then Fuzzy's also making his amazing RPG, which I can't wait to see. This looks fucking awesome, bro. Keep up the good work. I kind of... my only problem with seeing these previews is it's spoiling all the content. So I'm trying not to watch them, but they're so great. The idea of making an RPG is super fun, too. But anyways, thank you guys for showing up. We'll talk soon. There will be an update at the end of the month for the 7th anniversary of Jump Off the Bridge, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. That's it. That's all I got. You have to rework it for the roguelike. Yeah, for like buying stuff. Good idea, though. That'll be fun. Roguelikes have good replayability. All right, guys. Peace. I'm out. Good day wherever you are. Get some sleep. Enjoy your day. And thank you for coming.